Okay, it's 10 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started here. Thank you all for joining us for another installment of Long's Coffee Break Series. My name's Aaron Morris. I'm a sales engineer out of the Colorado Springs office. And today I'm joined by Ryan Johnson with Penberry. Ryan is our regional sales manager, and today he's going to be talking to us about Penberry's new line of upblast and downblast fans and their expanded GPlus EC motor offering. So, Ryan, thanks for joining us today, and take it away.
All right, thanks, Aaron, for the introduction. Good morning to everyone. Normally, I would be coming to you from Commerce City, where I reside, but this week I'm actually at our corporate headquarters in Indianapolis, braving a blizzard, which is 1 inch of snow for Midwestern people. So I hope I make it back to Colorado this weekend. But what we're going to talk about, obviously, here is our new Power Roof Ventilator series. This is an all-new product offering from Penberry, completely redesigned. Every nut, bolt, component on these fans is new. Those of you that are familiar with our brand, Pen Ventilator, is one of our roots of our company. We've been using their designs of the Fumex and Domex models for decades. So this is completely new from the ground up, and a very exciting time for us because this is a core product. Pretty much any building, if you're moving any amount of air, one of these products is generally going to show up, whether it's a gas station, restaurant, school, hospital, hotel. Spun aluminum fans are pretty much on every project. So let's get right into it with the first slide here. We're going to make our model names pretty easy to remember. We have the Power Roof Downblast, the PRD, and the PRU Upblast design. Some of the major changes we're making in terms of increased performance, better sound and air, which is going to be industry leading. It's going to have the FEI rating. And we're going to have an extended range of sizes. So we will now go to size 300 on both our upblast and downblast designs. That's going to get you roughly a 30-inch wheel diameter in those units. Belt drive will go all the way up to a size 542, which is roughly a 54-inch wheel diameter. Both of those are extensions from the previous offering that we had with our older models. That's going to get us to an approximate performance range of about 45,000 CFM, or 5 3/4 inch of water column. Again, that's at sea level. It's going to be a little bit less in Colorado, obviously, where we're a mile high in most locations or more. Today, these products are available for quotation and submittal through our representatives, such as Long in Colorado and Wyoming. Our initial ship dates will be right after the first of the year. So this slide I prepared a couple of weeks ago put our lead time at 8 weeks. Essentially, it's like launching a new model year for your favorite vehicle. We're starting to take the orders now, but the initial shipments will start in January 2025. And then as we approach that date, our lead time comes down. We'll stabilize at about 4 weeks when we get to the first of the calendar year. Big thing for this from a performance standpoint is that we are kind of leapfrogging the competition because we've had an opportunity to benchmark our major competitors. There is going to be about a 2 to 3 year window where it's going to be somewhat of an apples to oranges comparison. If you're not familiar with AMCA, who accredits our fans and checks our performance, they are going through a major revision right now with the Department of Energy, where in the past, manufacturers would test the best case scenario and then derate that data. We are now all going to be required to test to the worst case scenario and rate that data up to the actual performance point. So anyone bringing a new product into the market, such as the PRD and the PRU, will need to comply to that new standard immediately. Other manufacturers will need to retest all existing products within a 3 year window as they come up for their regular AMCA check tests. So right out of the bat, if you're comparing us against an older fan, you may say, well, Ryan, you're not the best performing unit in the market. But when you're comparing to the same test standard, yes, we are having the best performance. So some of the key features that we've integrated into these new designs, number one, this is a request we get all the time from contractors, is the ability to access the motor compartment to inspect, service the motors and drive components without having to have sockets, sets, screwdrivers, things like that. So we do have tool-free access to our motor compartment. On our belt-driven products, we will have an optional auto belt tensioner. So less attention required from service personnel or building maintenance staff to get out there to check and or replace belts throughout the year. All of our units, whether they're up blast or down blast, are going to have integral lifting lugs for ease of installation and picking that equipment from the ground and putting it up on the roof. Another one that's really important for your electrical contractors is a dual wiring conduit. This is highly recommended from the electrical industry not to run high voltage and low voltage wiring together. With a lot of fans nowadays going towards direct drive, especially with EC or permanent motor offerings, they're going to need some kind of a control signal coming to the motor in addition to the line voltage power supply. So having that dual wiring conduit already set up in the fan is going to save time for the installing contractor and the electrical contractor as well. By default, we will have all internal wiring as NEMA 1. We will pull power to the external side of the fan. That can be upgraded to NEMA 3R if the customer desires. And of course, we offer a variety of different disconnect switches as well, NEMA 1, NEMA 3R, NEMA 7 and 9 being the most common. And then one other thing that we heard a lot from our customers was to have, a better a better bird screen design, a little more aesthetically pleasing, but yet minimizing power transmission losses to move the air through that fan. So that's something that we've integrated into our new designs as well. As I mentioned, industry-leading performance, one of the ways that we achieve that is by not only having the ability to vary the speed of the fan, but we're going to have multiple wheel widths that we offer as part of our selection and configuration for these products. Now, initially, we're going to have 4 different width offerings for most of the sizes. Some of the smaller sizes are going to have 3 or 2 or 1. But as you can see here on the chart, they're all going to have 100% width. And then as you get to the bigger fans, they're going to have 80%, 50%, and 30% offerings as well. Now, down the road here, hopefully within maybe the first or second quarter of the 2025 calendar year, we're also going to offer extended range wheels, which will have 110% of our standard width. So that's going to be a nice way to stretch your performance without getting a larger curb cap or a physically larger fan on the roof. But again, that's not part of our initial offering out of the gate because we still need to have that performance verified through AMCA and get our accreditation on that particular set of air and sound performance. One thing I mentioned earlier is more and more we're seeing not only spun aluminum fans, but really the air movement industry as a whole going towards direct driven products and going towards high efficiency direct current motors. Now, Penberry, we like to go to market under the term of GPlus or GPlus. From other manufacturers, they might call it Grid Smart or Very Green. But in most cases, all of us fan suppliers, we're buying these motors from the same suppliers. We're simply applying our own unique wrap and marketing brand name recognition to it in the industry. So again, for us, that's the GPlus brand name. And without going into a lot of detail here on this slide, you can see that generally for the smaller fans in direct drive, we're going to have EC motor offerings. I'll essentially refer to that as a smart DC motor where the controls are integral to the motor. As you get into the higher horsepowers, integral 1 horsepower and above, they go to permanent magnet design. So that's what I would call a dumb DC motor where it's still high efficiency, that high 90%, but you do have to have an external control signal or a device of some sort that tells that motor what to do. There are no integral controls actually within the physical motor itself. And then, of course, we'll continue to offer AC induction motors as well. That'll be more on the larger horsepower sizes because, again, for the fractional horsepowers, the industry has almost exclusively gone to EC designs, and we're basically following that trend of what the industry is asking for here. Some of the more common options, and this is, again, a new addition to our product offering, we're going to be able to offer a UL 705 grease exhaust listed fan, both in belt drive, but also direct drive with an EC motor and a permanent magnet motor. That was something that we didn't have previously. And again, we're getting a lot of requests for that from engineers as they're laying out their schedules. So those fans will be rated up to 300 degrees Fahrenheit for continuous operation as the airstream temperature. And depending on the exact motor you're getting, it'll either be an open drip-proof air over or potentially a total enclosed fan-cooled motor, again, depending on the exact configuration that you're working with. Another convenience that we're adding for engineers and contractors, obviously, these fans already exist on thousands of job sites throughout North America, and after 10, 15 years, they burn out or they just need to be replaced. So we're making that as easy as possible for customers, not only to directly replace our previous DX and FX models, but also competitive models from Greenheck, Lauren Cook, Twin City, Acme, whoever it might be. We can offer those curb adapters right from the factory. We make it very easy for our rep partners at Long to select those and provide them with the fan, just like any other accessory, whether it's a gravity damper, roof curbs, things like that. Now, some of the things that we're going to be offering in the future is we will continue to expand our motor offering, both in the GPlus, which is, again, our EC and permanent magnet offering. But there is still some demand in the industry for permanent split capacitor motors, shaded pole, things like that are operated with rheostat type speed controls. I think over the course of the next couple of years, you may see the Department of Energy start to mandate those things out of our industry. But today they are still valid, acceptable solutions. So as we get our motors approved by UL, we'll start adding those into our ability to select and offer those to the market as well. And while not really pertinent maybe to the state of Colorado, we do have an offering for high wind that's available as soon as our paperwork is processed with Miami-Dade County. So we're basically just waiting for our certification to come through. But maybe from time to time, maybe up in the mountains, you have just a need for a high wind rated fan, up on a peak somewhere, not necessarily driven by legislation, but you just say, hey, this is the type of product I want, something a little more secure, a little more sturdy, something you can always consider in the mountain states here as well. So I think Aaron and Randy will open the floor up to questions here, but for those of you that don't have any questions, thanks for joining us today and taking some time out of your day to learn a bit about this new product offering from Penberry.
Yeah, well, thanks, Ryan. It really feels like Penberry's been listening, and that offering should solve a lot of the needs we've run into with the engineering community to meet the applications that we see. So that's exciting news. If you have any questions, please reach out to your Long salesman, and they'll be able to get you any answers or selections or information on this line of fans. Again, Ryan, thank you, and thanks everybody for joining us today.